Hello, world. Welcome to Comic Book News. I'm your old pal, Dan Shahin. It's another edition of what? The Million Dollar Mailbox. Oh, my goodness. Today, we're going to take a look at a bunch of comics that were mailed into me to the Million Dollar Mailbox. That's P.O. Box 1163, Arcata, California, 95518. Beautiful. Arcata, California, I meant to say. I was just talking backstage with good old Larry, who was saying, how awesome is this that people just mail you comics that for you to talk about, like crazy comics you might never see anywhere else. And it is the joy of my life. Believe me, I ain't doing it for the money. I'm doing it for the comics. I got a humongous box. I'm looking back over the comics that have been sent to me over the past year, and it's just like, it's a plethora of printed material. That I gather and take a look at and talk about and give, the honest scuttlebutt around. And today I've got an additional scuttlebutter. We brought in Don Chin. Yeah, Don Chin is, he's an old school comics publisher. He's the publisher of, Parody Press. Don's the creator of Adolescent Radioactive Black Belt Hamsters, one of the more successful and actually enjoyable Turtles knockoffs of the 80s. More of a parody than a knockoff, really. And good stuff, good fun. He sent me a bunch of the copies of them and put me back in an 80s mood. I was on his show yesterday. We were talking about Jack Kirby. So I said, what the heck? Let's bring in Donnie today to talk about comics. So hey, without further ado, let me bring in my guest right now. First, let's start with, him from this show many times. Let's bring in Rear Admiral Larry Young.
Hey, Dan. How's it going?
What's up, buddy? How you been?
I'm good. I was taking my kid to school today. I was telling him I was going to be talking to you again. And he said, you're like Andy Richter, aren't you? And I'm like, that is the best compliment I've got in like 1,000 years. I'm like, yeah, man, I'll just come in and hang out with the star of the show, Dan Shahin, and just go, you are correct, sir.
Hey, I think you're more Ed McMahon than anything, but
I'll take Ed McMahon.
That's me showing my age.
Yeah.
Well, now let's bring in, who are we going to bring in now? What was Johnny's band leader's name? Doc Severinsen. Let's bring in our own Doc Severinsen. Eureka's own Don Chin. Hey, Don.
Hey guys, good morning.
Hey Don.
Good to see y'all. I think
awesome.
There makes sense for
good
now.
Good to be here.
So Don, we looked at your book X Farce Reloaded. What else you got to plug? Let's get a plug in up front.
Oh, thank you. Beard Zerker, we just got in our final colored pages, so we're in pre-press on that, and it's on Indiegogo. We're in demand. It's a full color parody of Keanu Reeves' Berserker book from Boom Studios, and it's drawn by my friend Bill Mouse, colored by his daughter Cat Mouse, believe it or not, that's her real name, and lettered by Keith Gleason, who does Mighty Mascots, and my wife Laura is our graphic wizardress that does all the pre-press work. So that's the latest thing that we're working on, and after that I'm working on something else, but I can't really announce it yet, but I will definitely keep you in the loop.
Oh, okay. Maybe we could drop it here. We could be one of the early promoters of that.
Maybe
you're ready.
Maybe.
Cool.
Thanks, bud. Cool.
Okay. Hey, well, guys, I think we got to just jump into it because we got a lot of great comics to look at today. And Larry, I'm going to really slowly cue you up to say, hey, Ed, where do we look at these things anyway? How do we do this?
Well, in the Batcave? The $1 Million Mailbox?
No.
I forget. What am I doing? I've dropped it. I dropped the ball.
Into the $1 Million Comics cam, of course. Larry, we got to work on that for sure.
I haven't had
Maybe I'll give you
breakfast
warning.
yet. I haven't finished my plant-based energy drink yet.
You know what? Nobody's taken my bait yet. I'm just dying for one day somebody to go, oh, it's the $1 Million Comics cam, and like know what I'm talking about. Someday.
All right. I'm writing that down.
Okay, so we're gonna start off with Nuclear Dog, guys. This is the radioactive adventures of a nuclear-powered pup. Creator is on the inside. We'll talk about it in a second. Just from the looks of this, when you look at this from the outside, what does this look like? What does this tell you?
Well, you had me at radioactive animals, so that's kind of my claim to fame.
True. Right.
I'm a giant graphic design guy, so I love the logo. I ordinarily, comics, it's all about words and pictures juxtaposed. So on a cover, I always look at the art first. So it's super rare that the logo grabs me, even being a guy who loves, letter forms and font families and stuff. I just love that. I kind of, that looks hand drawn to me, and I love that in comics, a hand drawn logo.
I will admit, I didn't even think about it, but it's an interesting treatment with the band behind it and the letters. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I did enjoy. I really like it. Now
it bothers me the misspelling though, because I'm a journalism major. I want to put a C in there.
Yeah, but that's context, right? I mean, it's not the New York Times headline; it's a comic book, so
that's true.
I'll give people that one. But yeah, that's part of it. I agree, though. That's part of what drew my eye to it. Okay, but whatever gets you in the door.
Well, I think though that I don't know, maybe Nuclear Dog the other way was trademarked already or something like that. You never know in these situations. Although, so we can take a look inside. This is somebody, who had a dream to talk about his dog, and So here's Nuke.
Oh yeah,
the Nuclear Dog.
Gotta love it.
And his only powers are the same powers that like any dog has. Like he hears the mailman, and right, and he gets mad, and he's really suspicious of the mailman.
Got a sonic bark there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so there's no real nuclear power, so to speak, but it's just a dog, and it's sort of for a dog's eye view, and we get to meet his friends and his family. It's pretty charming.
Yeah, that's adorable. The thing I like
it's all ages, huh? Looks like
it's definitely all ages friendly.
That's good. I'm sorry, Larry. What were you
I was just going to say the thing I love about this is, this is obviously a lot of work, and nobody's doing a book called Nuclear Dog without loving what they're doing,
right?
So you got to give it to them,
including French translations. We have the French Bulldog, who's speaking in French, and we have some translations here.
Who is the artist writer, Dan?
We're getting there because he didn't put his name. He's not up front with it. So, and I don't have my notes in front of me, so I always get it out of. I'm going to get it out of the book. His name is Jeff, though. I knew that because the dog mentions his owner, Jeff. I just want to quickly go through. I don't want to spoil the ending here. But suffice it to say, we're going to see more adventures of Nuke and the evil mailman. He knows there's something going on with the mailman. He's just really keyed into the mailman. And he really buried it in here. Here we go. Geoffrey Badeaux. But if you go to his website, if you go to this nucleardog.com, they did a Kickstarter, a successful fundraiser for this thing. He raised the money to print it. It's saddle stitched with a nice thick cardstock cover, very thick and glossy. The interior pages are ultra glossy.
Mm-hmm.
Great paper stock, page numbers, which I appreciate. You don't often see the title on every page with the page number the way you do here. I think
That's
maybe
a cool little
was,
bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in a novel, right? That they have the title at the top of every page. That's pretty cool, actually.
He's getting his logo. He's getting his name in there. He's getting brand reinforcement on every page.
Tens of impressions.
This was obviously a labor of love. Really great stuff. Oh, and I forgot. He wrote to me and he said, I'll send you one, Dan, but you got to give it to a library when you're done.
Aw. That's
and
awesome.
I said, of course. I said, of course I'll do that. And he wrote back to say, hey, not that I don't trust you, but will you please show me a picture of it in that library?
Yeah. Yeah, Don knows this. It's cool seeing your book out in the wild. So he's definitely not making you jump through hoops. He's just doing that for absolutely, satisfaction of a job well done.
Well, what he told me was it's to put it on his website because he wants to show Nuclear Dog in the wild, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know the suggested cover price off of his website?
I don't. You're gonna have to look. Maybe one of you gentlemen, if you got a second, can check it out and give me a little detail. I'm sorry, I don't have I left my notes inside. Anyway, Nuclear Dog. It was kickstarted. Here we go. There's a cover price and an ISBN. This guy is pro. Don, it's compared to your books, it's a steal at only $15. So I think that's a great deal for a single issue.
Wait a sec. Is that a 24-page floppy?
This is it is page numbered. It's 26 So I guess that's 24 pages, saddle stitched with a cardstock cover.
We're obviously in the wrong biz if that's a $15 book, man.
Well, it costs money, man. It's coloring, all that stuff.
I'm not really giving him a hard time because you got to do what you got to do. And the Kickstarter thing, obviously, the people think it's worth it. And I'm not talking about that because things are worth, things go for what they're worth. But in a harsh world, that's a rough price point.
Yeah, in a local comic book store, it probably would be sitting there, and that's the same problem I have with trying to get my books in the stores because they're not going to be cheap.
Yeah, boy, there's a giant whole conversation we could have there about just getting books in the stores, huh? I mean, yeah. Never mind.
Don
Don
has kind of given. I mean, Don, are you soliciting your books through? Do you solicit them through Diamond?
I'm not. What I've been seeing people do is they'll do like a prestige format Kickstarter Indiegogo at the higher price point, and then later on they'll release like a second printing, more affordable copy to the masses. I haven't decided what I'm going to do if we do that with X-Farce or Beard Zerker, but we basically broke even or made a little bit on both of these books, and I don't expect to make a whole lot of money, but it wouldn't be bad to get them in the hands of other fans through the comic book stores.
I don't understand. Like, I like what I saw on Berserker, as a matter of fact, right? On the Berserker book, what Boom did was to solicit into stores and in Kickstarters kind of to hit at the same time. And I would think that you get just that extra hit of pre-orders, whatever they might be from the direct market. It's almost like gravy, just going to increase your profit margin or your print run, whichever one you want.
Ross Ritchie knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he does. All right. Let's take a look at Nandor Fox Shaffer, another guy who I think knows what he's doing. This guy's writing comics. He's like, what? I'm going to write comics, okay? Nandor says he started with this book, I believe, Lifeline by Nandor Fox Shaffer. Told from the perspective of those around him, enter the story of a man as he struggles through the decades of what all of us must simply live. Nandor Fox Shaffer presents Lifeline, a collaborative graphic novel project with 7 uniquely skillful artists with ranging styles from around the world to tell a captivating tale of family, legacy, and reflection. Now, I will say, this is accurate. We've got a bunch of different, very unique artists, and this is probably my only criticism, my biggest criticism of this book, because I think it's ambitious and it's well executed. It's certainly well produced. It's a nice 1999 floppy. It's got a good hand feel. This you wouldn't feel out of place amongst anything from any other comics publisher. The artwork on the cover, I think, is great. And there's a bunch of different artists. Like I said, 7 artists. And we're just going to say there are varying styles for sure, of different periods within the same guy's life. Some of them, like this one, this style here, I really liked a lot. I thought it showed a lot of experience writing comics and storytelling and, you know, emotion and stuff through the kid. It was a really great chapter. This is my favorite chapter by far.
Is it based on his life, or are these fictional stories, or?
Well, it's sort of a fictionalized account of this guy's life, I guess. And it's not autobiographical for sure. This poor kid whose mom died in childbirth with him, and his dad had no compunction about getting drunk and just telling him, "You killed her and you ruined my life when you killed my
heavy."
Yeah. So poor kid, he's got to suffer a lot. Okay. And then we go into these present day chapters, and this is I'm just assuming this is maybe a European artist. It's definitely a European style, European influenced. Said from around the world. I'm not sure. And then we get into these sort of the 1975 story. And this is where, like, it's pretty jarring, the change in styles to me. This was my one criticism. Not that this is a terrible style per se, but only that it's so different that it starts to make the book feel less like a single story from different periods of time and more like an anthology story. It's kind of hard to even tell which character is our main character from chapter to chapter. It's my only criticism really of the book.
Look at the word balloons though in the captions. That is so much more dense than the beginning of the book that you showed so far.
Yeah.
So even visually, just scanning the page makes you go, you know, whoa.
That's my other, That's my only other comment actually, is the
part
density.
It's part of the same thing though, right? I mean, it just has a different tone.
Yeah, it doesn't feel cohesive in that way. Not that it's bad. I mean, it's supposed to be taking place in different eras, but it takes me out of it a little bit.
What a giant challenge though, having 8 chapters and 8 different artists.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because that following your main character is going to be rough. I mean, even if you did like, you know, Barry Smith and Jack Kirby, and everybody would just have a different take, you know.
Well, I'm sensing Nandor's learning curve a little bit too, just with what we talk about. Word density per page. Don, you got any rules of thumb on that when you try to write dialogue?
Yeah, I've had the tendency to write a script and get it to my artist, and then when I get it back, I can see I've challenged him to put too much art in the page, and it's not a good balance with the word balloon. So oftentimes I have to edit my script so they're not so word intensive. But I did notice a couple pages in Nandor's book where, especially the one that had all the square captions, where it's almost like, you know, 60 or 70% word balloons versus the artwork. That to me just kind of shows a lack of planning, unfortunately, or editing that's needed. But overall, I mean, the balance of what I'm seeing here looks good, and he looks like he's trying to tell a pretty intense story, but it does look a little bit on the verbose side, and you got to kind of let your artist, you know, show the story and not feel like you have to kind of beat the reader over the head.
Yeah, I feel like in writer-driven projects, especially maybe by a new creator who's feeling their sea legs out, so to speak, there's a tendency to want to tell more than show, than allow the artist to show.
Yeah. Hey, is that Doug Knaple right there? It's like Doug Knaple.
It does.
It's really, he picked some really good artists, and I can't wait to show you his next book, because I think you're going to see a big leap up in.
Hey Dan, did somebody did the same guy letter all of those pages? Because the way I solved that problem is I just lettered my own pages, so you can do the editorial editing that Don was talking about, like on the fly. It's like you don't have to have a big meeting. It's like, oh, we only have so much space for this. Can you get it down to 25 words? You can just do that and go, well, here's the point of this scene. I don't need to talk about the guy's socks or whatever, you know. So
I feel like that's almost the magic. It looks like one letter.
Yeah, one guy. Yeah, that's all he needs is an editing pass once the art comes out.
I feel like that's part of the magic of the Marvel method was just that going back in and doing the scripting afterwards to make sure you could strike some kind of balance, and not everybody succeeded in that balance.
So what year was this book published, Dan?
I know Seasons was like
2019.
2017, so yeah, that makes sense.
This one is 2019, but it looks like it was in progress for longer. This says. Yeah. Anyway, there's
look at this
variety of. Sorry, go ahead, Larry.
No, I was just gonna say, see on the left-hand page, that third panel, it's more than half. That's just if you want to write like that, just write a book. You know, you just made your artist do all that work for nothing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That poor artist is going like, "Oh my god, I drew the
that's the best phone I ever drew."
Because actually, this artist is doing quite a bit with this. Look at this perspective background on this one. This perspective high corner shot for the whole thing. Like this is not just cookie cutter camera angles or anything that this artist is doing. And I also really like this sort of watercolor action going on in the background.
I want to say, if Nandor's listening, like, man, we totally mean this in the best possible way. Sometimes I feel when I'm doing these critiques, it's like, oh, here's some stuff you need to address, and this didn't really work. Like, the assumption is that you did the job. So nice work just having something for us to talk about. And I feel personally sometimes I forget to say that like, this is a slick package. It looks great.
Yeah, so, definitely.
So the stuff that we're saying is just kind of fine tuning.
Yeah, you're too nice, Larry. Let them have it. You know what I mean? Like all these guys are getting in their life is their immediate friends and family buttering them up, calling them the next Frank Miller, saying they're a genius, not noticing their lack of kerning. There's many.
I would do that on a top 2 or 4 or whatever it is book, because those guys are supposed to know what they're doing. But I will never crush anybody's dreams, because I did it once to poor Jason McNamara. He offered me up something. Hey, look at this thing I'm doing. And because it was a Sunday at San Diego, I was like just done. I went, oh man, I hope it's not a horror anthology, because you will never sell one of those. And of course, it was a horror anthology. So I'm like, and he's a good friend of mine, so I was able to smooth it over. But like, I just am in fear of doing that to somebody who works really hard, and forget to tell them, like, you did a book about your dog. That's great, And I liked your logo, but I'll never say, like, why did you do that? Of course, the mailman's evil.
What's the cover price on Lifeline?
On Lifeline was $19.99.
Okay, that's right.
Same as this hardcover of Seasons, which is $19.99.
Wow.
And this one came out. Let's see. It amazes me if this one came out. This is first edition 2017. So this one actually is before this one. But I think I like it more mostly because of the single artist on the story. And what an artist. Let me show you guys. I was really blown away by Anthony Gonzalez Clark. Really blown away. I think you might like this stuff. Okay, so Spring. This is it's an interesting story, right? So this is the story of this kid, and he's got a crush on a girl at work, and he's just screwed up his courage to tell her on the day that she brings her new boyfriend, who she just met the week before, and he's been pining over her for months. And somehow this has released psychic powers in our boy, or has it? It could be his emotional side. It's really this conflict between his bright side and his dark side, and we're going to see that come really soon. There's a lot of setup. I have a few pacing issues with this book, in that it took 4 pages for him literally to get out of bed. There's a lot of stuff going on in his head and in his mind, and I believe there is implied masturbation. I know, Larry, you'll want to see that.
Not if it's implied. No.
I have it in my notes. Wait, implied masturbation here. Yes.
Oh, man.
He says it's okay. Sorry, just okay. But let's get to where some people probably want this to get, is to the super powered action. Now let's see his.
That explains the 4 pages, though, right? I mean, sometimes it takes how long it takes, right?
Well, and let's notice now the powers are coming from his hands. Now
I'm getting a little red crotch.
Now. I can see you're as red as Devil Dinosaur behind me.
But so now here's where I go. This guy, this artist, Anthony Gonzalez Clark. I'm going to remember this name because he's got a style that reminds me. It's got like a Jade Man feel to it in the action. This kind of stuff, like that's Jade Man, right? Like if you're familiar with any of those Oriental Heroes comics, or what are the other ones? I forgot, but that style for sure. But he's just really solid page to page. He's obviously using photo references and Photoshop and stuff. Like, not obviously, like, to me, it seems like he must be, but it's not as ham-fisted and ham-handed as I usually see it. This guy is using those techniques in a better way that's a little more subtle and doesn't just make you scream Photoshop right away. It feels a little bit Akira-ish. You know, sort of young guy, young adolescent, or not adolescent, post-adolescent, horny dude gaining superpowers and kind of lashing out. He sort of sees these dark ghosts. This is a part that Nandor was a little tricky for me. It's that it's hard to understand, and it's hard for the character to understand, so maybe this is on purpose. Like, exactly how his powers are working and what's happening. It seems like what's happening is when he can see these dark demon things, then he himself becomes invisible to everyone else around him. And then he has these sort of light powers that can combat the darkness. And he's also intangible. And this led to a really cool moment. I really like this, where he becomes intangible, like for the first time, and he sort of falls on the ground and people are just walking through him. And how that would kind of feel like, I don't know, like you're getting kicked in the stomach, right? Like he's getting kicked through the head. I thought that was cool. That's something I don't remember seeing before anyway.
So he can be invisible? I'm not exactly sure I understand
he doesn't
in a different
either,
dimension, or he doesn't know.
This could all be in his head too, right? It's possible. And that's where it may be going. But then we start to realize that it doesn't, because he makes a visit back to his office and his powers go crazy and a bunch of people are hurt. People are, just after he stormed out on his crush and said, "I just wanted to hold your hand." That's the last thing he says. Then he storms out. Nobody sees him for a few days. And then someone comes in and like blows up the office. And only he knows that it was him and his superpowers, right? And he's sort of like, that's his dark side. That's what he wanted to do when he felt so rejected by this woman. He wanted to just go and kill everyone. It's really kind of an incel point of view type story. You can just feel this guy's frustration at being unable to express himself to his crush and then being too late. Like, he was literally coming in that morning. He's like, today's the day I'm going to do it. And then she's there with her new boyfriend. And then we get a lot of Tetsuo-esque kind of destruction moments that I love.
Wow. It's very nice. Yeah,
I believe
this to me shows a lot more balance. I mean, he's letting the artist tell the story, and there's very little dialogue, which to me moves the story along nicely.
There is quite a bit of internal monologue going on, and that's most of where our exposition kind of comes from. And so again, that's a little more of my my one critique of this story might be a little less of that exposition. I don't think it's as necessary because, man, this artist is so expressive. And here are guys trying to come to grips and trying to figure out, is he going crazy or does he really have superpowers he doesn't quite understand? And then he's seeing, yeah.
I was going to say, I love the whole thematic thing that it's seasons and it's going to be 4 volumes, right? Spring, summer, winter, and fall. Because it just reminds me of that Bendis thing when he did Jinx and they did Jack, Queen, King, Ace instead of 1, 2, 3, 4. And so I love it when stuff like that happens. And so thematically it's the same, right? He's learning his powers. It's springtime for Hitler.
For potential Hitler, yes.
I should explain. That's a Mel Brooks joke.
Oh, that's the boyfriend. It's Clark Kent.
Talking about Hitler.
The boyfriend is Clark Kent.
Well, no, now he comes home to his parents. These are our heroes' parents. Yeah. And so he showed up at home, but then as he's hanging out there, he's meeting his little brother, who he's always sort of been secretly jealous of and whatever. And then his dark self shows up at the door at the end of this issue. And basically, he cops to wanting to kill his parents and having been so jealous of his little brother, and all his darkest, innermost fantasies are manifesting as this dark version of himself. And, he's in an all-out war with himself and flitting into and out of reality in a way that's, while it is confusing in the hands of a lesser artist, it would be indecipherable, but this guy really is pulling it off for me. I totally enjoyed it.
Wow.
That's cool. I love the whole, here's your parents. We want to talk to you about this adolescence metaphor. The hormones and powers that you have now.
Right. I mean, it's a little bit on the nose in the sense of my struggle between my light and dark self and what have you. But that's all in the execution of that. And I think that this artist's style in particular is just perfectly suited to it.
Yeah. I like the negative lettering for the dark self is cool.
Yeah. This is again where we get into some stuff with just the amount of words per balloon. I think this is where the editing process serves you to, write your script, but then in your final lettering phase, that's your good chance to tighten up and edit your dialogue, like you were saying, Larry.
I think if you have that reverse type for you don't need a spooky font to read it to. I think if you just reverse it, that sells that this is the evil guy talking. I blame
very Sandman-ish. It's very Sandman-ish, Todd Klein-ish.
Yeah, I guess, but Klein didn't, I guess he did do a little hand-lettered organic thing there when he reversed balloons out, but
okay, my lettering gripe here is only about the amount of margin you gave in your caption boxes.
Yeah, there's a trick to lettering.
Yeah.
That's not good.
But I will say this.
Is that typeset? Yeah, you don't have an excuse for that if that's typeset.
It's not the margins on these ones I don't like, but that's not like that consistently throughout. But there's a couple places. You could take it, Nandor. You got books of your own. You're a professional cartoonist. You can take the criticism. I know. But
I guarantee you that if I had a book here that you and I and Don were talking about, I wouldn't watch the show. I would just cry because when you produce something, all you see is the stuff that you did wrong or want to fix or can do better now. And I wouldn't want to listen to us.
No, it looks like it took a long time to do this. It looks like a very professional product. So I'm not. I like this one better than.
In my job, in my line of work, right? I make websites and applications and stuff. When the client, it's always a sign of success when the client is going like, what about the font size on this menu item? Like when they're complaining about that and not that the overall flow is broken.
Yeah, that's an awesome.
You've done a good job, man. Yeah. So I apologize. I'm not going to apologize because you sent this in, and who else is going to say it? I'm going to say it. It's going to hopefully make you better.
Don Shahin, speaking the truth.
So anyway, for $19.99 at hardcover, this is a value package right here. Well produced, the end papers lovingly done, a great color scheme. This sort of like light pink for the black and white dark book, I think is a great choice.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, I love that package. That's great.
I loved it.
Good
man.
job, Nandor. Yeah,
This is solid stuff. Nandor Fox Shaffer, Anthony Gonzalez Clark. Oh, I just wanted to see, because you can check out the website. Anthony Gonzalez Clark, he had his bio back here, and it said he worked in fast food and banks and telemarketers, lives in Los Angeles, self-taught with no professional experience. Everything he learned through action, multiple failures, and mistakes.
You know, it's cool too. Good. I don't know if you planned this, but this is the last 24 hours to they got Indiegogo is what their seasons 2 is this summer, and I just went on their website. So believe it or not, today it's been funded, I think, but that doesn't mean you can't get a copy of the next one.
This is worth supporting, and I have a prediction that that this artist is going to go on to other things, whether it's for his own work or working for bigger publishers. Dude, you got thumbs up, 2 thumbs up and a smile, big time. Great work. Okay, one last book. This one's really interesting. This one got sent to me, but from someone in Virginia, the Virginia area. Actually, it might have even come from a correctional facility. I'm not quite sure about this one.
Uh-oh. Are you sure, really?
Oh, yeah, cool. Welcome to the world of Sonichu.
You're popular in the penitentiaries now.
I'll be there someday. So Sonichu is by Mr. Christian Weston Chandler. I'm sorry, I believe it's Ms. Christine Weston Chandler now. Now this was produced before she transitioned, from what I understand, and this was done over 20 years ago. And this is the story of Sonichu, who is a Pokemon, a hedgehog Pokemon, but is copyright by Christian Weston Chandler. But Pokemon is not claimed to be copyrighted. Right? So he produced this book, this character. Let me zoom in a little bit here. I'm Christian Weston Chandler, Sonichu's creator and author of the comic. This is his story and nothing less. And so we're going to learn a lot about this world, and we're going to learn a lot about Mr. Chandler too. Or Ms. Chandler, I'm sorry. So the world of Sonichu, you can tell, the guy put a lot of love into this stuff. Big fan of Pokemon and Sonic the Hedgehog. And so was told, as I understand the story, was told by their teacher they couldn't use the copyrighted characters of Sonic or Pikachu, so created this character of Sonichu for a school assignment. Okay. And we get to know the characters, the creator, Sonichu, his girlfriend Rosechu, and then the bad guys and the trainers like in Pokemon. And then of course there's Black Sonichu, aka Black Chew. He's Sonichu's evil twin, was created in the lab from Sonichu's DNA with an accidental dose of cherry cola. Okay. And we've created this whole mythology and legends, including we get to learn a little bit about the creator. He's got his own little creator page. And this is nice. The villains, the jerk cops, which I love. Those are modeled after the mall cops. And lastly, there's me, the intrusive creator in Sonichu's story, Christian Weston Chandler. I'm a very creative person. I enjoy playing video games, Sonic the Hedgehog, Pokemon, and Animal Crossing. I also like to build with Lego pieces. I enjoy most kinds of music. I'm also fascinated with the Transformers, play Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card games. I'm 5'10", born on January 24th, 1982, working towards a computer-aided drafting and design degree at Piedmont, Virginia Community College. Also single, lonely, and I need a girlfriend. Okay, so this was this guy's story and the genesis, and he really puts himself out here in comics form and tells the love story of Sonichu and his love Rose Chew, complete with
Ads,
his own
I love it.
Nintendo ads. Right, and at the bottom it says Game Boy Advance are registered trademarks of Nintendo. All Sonichu copyright Christian Weston Chandler.
Yes, that's an important slug there at the bottom. That's great.
I like that. You know, he's thinking ahead, preserving IP.
You know, when I was a kid, that I loved doing fake ads in my little mini comics because that's so part of the experience.
Yeah.
Of buying funny books off the newsstand.
And as much as you hate ads, it's like it is. It's so part. Yeah. Comics aren't the same without them. So
it reminds me of
back up. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Dan.
No, sorry, John. I was just gonna say we've got some Sonic classic strips that were created before the comic. Okay. And
I love everything about this. Here,
Don,
this had a whole world before he did the thing. You know,
yeah.
That's great. That's really charming.
Well, yeah, and from what I understand, the world evolved quite dramatically in the last 20 years. There's been a lot of changes, and there's been many follow-ups to this. This is a nice bit of a run-in of the creator with the jerk cops, or the inspiration for the jerk cops, which I guess were the mall cops. Okay, we get to see his little adventure. And finally, what else? Yeah, finally at the end. Oh, yeah, so in the fight with the mall cops, he's able to spray him with a special Pokeball, special S-Chew ball that gives you bad luck. And he says, "Hi, I didn't feel a thing." Let's see this. "I didn't feel a thing." "Oh, you will." "Oh, man, my glasses." "Chief, your wife just called. She's divorced you, left you, took your things, took your children, also loathes you for your filthy smoking habit." Okay, so
that's a bad day.
That's the power of the S-Chew ball. Never mess with a truly frustrated virgin when he's on a quest for a girlfriend to share true love and trust with.
Oh,
my soul hurts.
Yeah, dang.
It's almost like Nandor and Christian are separated at birth, but they just have different visions,
different paths. Like, yeah, different paths that they might have went on. Believe me, there was a different path for sure. If you want to know more about this creator, I'd search the internet. There's not much information about it, but if you Google, you might find one or two things. Check out YouTube. You might find a couple things about this creator. Guys, let's go to the comments. Wait, I want to go back. Let's go. We've got some comments on the screen here. Let's see.
I see that Alan Moore interstitial that you use. I see that in my dreams sometime. Like, oh, old man, gotta get up. It's 3 a.m. Gotta pee. Oh, it's Alan Moore. Jeez.
Oh, you want more? Wait a minute, Larry. I got more for you. How about this? More. Or even better.
Yeah.
This is my favorite. Colorful, goofy Alan Moore. You don't see this Alan Moore.
Yeah,
anymore.
I never see that. I just like that. That Batman fix that you do. You know, where it's like, I love that.
Well, we're going to talk to him. We're going to talk to who? We're going to talk to Eddie Campbell next week, Larry.
Oh, that's awesome.
About From Hell and the From Hell Master Edition. Let's see. When am I? Got my Eddie in here somewhere.
Man,
that's going to be fantastic.
I love Eddie's Bacchus. He could have just done nothing but Bacchus, and I would have thought he was Da Vinci.
Absolutely, Bacchus is incredible. I'm going to have the omnibus, both omnibuy here, and we're going to talk to him about it.
Omnibuy, that's a different thing, man.
He's got some good hair, Eddie.
Well, then he told me, he goes, "Dan, this is great, but this was a pretty old picture, so I don't quite look like this anymore."
It's like Steranko.
Right, guys, let's go to the comments here. Oh, we got Nerdette. She's always chiming in at the beginning. She says, "Hey, yeah," and then she bails. Come on back, Nerdette, sometime. We'd love to have you on the show. Nerdette's got a great YouTube channel, tons and tons of subscribers. Oh, Tony Farrow, aka Rubber Wolf, says, "Hey fellas,
What's up, Tony?
we looked at some
Hi,
of Tony's
Tony.
books, Larry." Oh, speaking of guys who've been on the show before, El Crudo. Remember, we checked out El Crudo comics, Larry.
I totally remember that. That's awesome.
Yeah, the Crazy Monkey. Let's see. Oh, I think talking about Sonichu #1, still in print after 20 years.
Yeah, that's no joke.
Pikachu plus Sega's Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah, that's what it was for sure.
Oh, that's funny.
We'll take it.
Great. And then who am I? I'm Bargain Basement. I don't know who I am. Hosted by
Jim Shooter.
David Tell.
You're like a Jim Shooter guy.
Comic saying it's for the lettering was a strong choice on yeah, I agree.
Tony always says this. He says the stuff I want to say. I totally
So he could have been a comics Daniel Johnson or something. I totally agree. It's almost outsider art. It's Fletcher Hanks is another one. I heard him called the 21st century Fletcher Hanks. If you've read any of those crazy comics from the Golden Age. And is the line artist the same as the colors? Oh, Crudo, I'm not sure which book you're talking about, so I'm not sure. But if you're talking about Sonichu, I believe it's all CWC. All right, guys. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Hey, tell them your plugs one more time, Don. What do you got to plug?
Oh, guys, thank you again. If you like parodies, you like the old kind of Mad Magazine style mixed with superheroes, we have on Indiegogo In Demand X-Farce Reloaded. You can go to xfarce.com, no hyphens. And also Beard Zerker, that's BeardZzerker.com. That's our upcoming parody of the Keanu Reeves Boom Studios Berserker book. It's got a lot of fun Keanu Reeves, Bill and Ted homage gags in it, a lot of rock and roll, lots of cool stretch goals like guitar picks and ribbons and stickers. And the price point's only $15 for that book. So if you want to check it out, please do so. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Don. Thanks for joining us. See you soon.
My
You're
pleasure.
welcome back anytime you want, John. Come
Thank
drop
you.
by anytime. All right. See you, buddy. Larry, you got anything to plug? What's going on in your life?
Yeah, I just finished. I locked down the inside of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. book finally. It's going to be 208 pages. I just got to do the cover and print that up. That's going to be good. I'm kind of helping my kid. He's got 4 or 5 screenplays going right now. One's done. High Sierra. It's like if Seth Rogen met Seth Rogen doing a teen comedy. It's it's the loosely based adventures of my kid and his friends, as if they had an unlimited amount of money and lived up in Tahoe without adult supervision.
Awesome. And they can check out you and your son on your channel, right, on YouTube.
That's right. We do intermittently. We do a Dork Court thing where we basically just talk about Marvel movies and pop culture and stuff like that. Man, is he in love with What If right now. So I pulled out all my What If comics, and he looked at the covers because he just wants to see TV and movies. He doesn't care about reading anymore.
Well, there's a couple great ones. Pull out that What If Elektra Lived with the Frank Miller work on it.
I showed him what if the FF was basically Challenges of the Unknown. What if Conan took place in the present day? Nick Fury in space. The first one, of course, Spider-Man joins the Fantastic Four. That kind of sets up the whole idea. Yeah. But yeah, man, are you watching that cartoon? Holy crap, is that good?
Not yet. It's on my list for sure.
I think this is going to be one of the breakthrough one that puts all the TV and movies and stuff together into one thing, like in the audience's mind. This just isn't like dismissed as, oh, it's a cartoon, I'll watch it if I feel like it. No, this is like, it's just top shelf stuff. Very good.
Awesome. Well, okay, I'm going to put it on my list and check it out for sure. Larry, thank you.
Ah, man, thank you. I love talking comics with you.
Cool. I'm going to have some more books soon enough, as long as people send them in. You know what? Maybe if you can see the screen, maybe you can tell them where they could send those comics.
Well, Dan Shahin, I got this right next to my computer, but Million Dollar Mailbox at P.O. Box 1163 in beautiful downtown Arcata, California, 95518. Send Dan all your stuff and we'll talk about it.
Thanks, Larry. See you next time.
Thanks, Dan. Always a pleasure.
All right. Hey, and thank you for sticking around. We've still got a few eyeballs watching us. I appreciate you watching this thing live. Yeah, I played a little joke maybe on Larry and Dawn, and I'm hoping right now I can still see Larry's face. So I would really love it if Larry just started to look up Sonichu and just started to dive into what this means, because I'm just going to leave with, one more thing to say. I have only one more thing to say about Sonichu before I go. And we're going to go. I got to play the credits, and then we'll have a cameo at the end of the credits like usual. I'm just going to say, I'm not sure what happened after Sonichu #1 was created exactly, but I'm sure that this creator has a huge future in store for them. And I can't wait to find all the exciting things that this motherfucker gets up to. We'll see you next time.